So the nutrition is the killer. That's the hard part. And that's the reason most guys over 40 don't have abs. Hi, I'm Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and today I want to talk about the question everybody asks me all the time. And that is, why is it so hard to get abs after 40? And yes, of all the things that are tough to do as we get older, getting abs is probably the hardest one. All right. There's a lot of different reasons. I'm going to give you 3 tips that I want you guys to think about today. But primarily, abs are made in the kitchen. Now, I know you guys have probably heard that saying before, but it is incredibly true. And I follow a lot of, professional level bodybuilders, and nutrition is key. That's the most important thing that you need to consider when it comes to getting abs. And that's going to be one of the 3 tips. But the reason getting abs is so hard is because most guys like to focus on the exercise. That it's something proactive that you can do. You can schedule it. Okay, I got to go to the gym. It's 5 o'clock or whatever, and you do your workout, 45 minutes, hour max. You're done. You're done for the day. You don't have to worry about your exercise anymore. Okay. The problem is the nutrition is the hard part, and it's the hard part because you got to worry about it all day long. From the time you wake up in the morning to the time you go to bed at night, you have to worry about everything you put in your mouth. And that's much more difficult than just pushing through some sets, and going to, failure for 45 minutes. Most guys can do that, all right? But the hard part is telling yourself, no, I can't do that. I can't eat that. I can't eat that. I'm hungry. And then the other part of the nutrition is actually having the information and the knowledge about what you should eat and what you should avoid. So the nutrition is the killer. That's the hard part. And that's the reason most guys over 40 don't have abs. Now, I just spent a lot of time talking about the nutrition and why that's the hardest part, and that's why men over 40 don't have abs. But you're thinking to yourself, well, hell, I ate like crap when I was 20 and I had abs. So it might, why does nutrition not matter when you're 20, but it does matter when you're 50? Well, our hormones. All right, so our metabolism slows down, our testosterone level starts dropping, and then things just don't work as well. All right, all you guys know that. But most men think that having high T levels is really good for building muscle, and that's true. But having high T levels also means that your body's way more efficient at using fat as a source of energy as opposed to just carbohydrates. And so when you were young, your testosterone levels were crazy high. That's why it's easier for guys to get abs than women, even young women, okay? They have very little testosterone, 1/10 the amount that men have. So back in the good old days when we were teenagers and in our 20s, our T levels were high, which meant our body was really efficient at using fat stores as a source of energy. And now our T levels have started dropping, typically 1 to 2% per year after you turn 30. So you can do the math on that. And so that combination of our hormones kind of going downhill as we age, and then we start getting lazy, we don't move as much, and we start getting lazy when it comes to eating too, all right? Simple as that. That's a bad combination. All right, let me get into 3 tips now, and I'm going to totally avoid the biggie, the nutrition, because I've shot a ton of videos on nutrition, what you should eat, what you should avoid, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to break the tips down into kind of 3 non-nutrition type tips. And the first one, guys, is do cardio. It kind of goes without saying, the older we get, it just seems like the less we move. Most guys have got very sedentary jobs. You're not out there like you were in your 20s and teenage years, playing sports. And so you have to get up and move. So I urge everybody to try to get some exercise in every single day. And when I say exercise, I'm talking about cardio. This is in addition to your workouts and in addition to your resistance training. So move. Now, you can do high intensity interval training. types of cardio. And of course, that's like sprinter mentality stuff where you're just gassed. You're going really, really hard for about 20 seconds. And then you have to stop and catch your breath. And then you repeat that, 10, 12, 15 times. All right. That's a great way to do cardio, and it's very efficient. It doesn't take long. In 10 minutes, 15 minutes max, you're done with your HIIT workout. Or you can do the more conventional steady state aerobic type exercise where you're just jogging real slowly, or maybe you're on a fast walk. If you're going to the gym, you could be on the Stairmaster or the rowing machine or the elliptical. Doesn't matter, just so long as you're moving. Matter of fact, a lot of these bodybuilders, all right, they don't do the HIIT. They don't do the jogging. They just do low intensity, steady state stuff, because what they're trying to do is just burn calories without stressing the muscles too much, because they stress their muscles really, really hard in their workouts, and they want to give their central nervous system a break, but they still want to burn some calories, and they'll just get on a treadmill and just walk 30, 45 minutes, an hour. They'll get on a bike, but they won't push it real hard, okay? They just want to basically burn calories. Tip number 2 is, guys, you gotta count your calories. You don't have to get incredibly anal and perfect about it, but you need to figure out how to eat in a small caloric deficit on a regular basis, day in and day out. What a good goal is to shoot for eating 500 fewer calories than you burn every day, okay? So it's real simple. There's some free apps online you can use. You type in your age, your height, your weight, your activity level, and it tells you roughly how many calories you burn in an average day. Now you're gonna have to figure out how many calories you eat in a typical day. So just pick a normal day, write down everything you put in your mouth, and then at the end of the day, get online and figure out that calorie count, all right? I want those calories that you eat to be about 500 fewer than the calories that you burn every day. Don't go radical. Don't try to go real low calorie. You'll just burn out and give up, okay? So what happens is 500 calories a day times 7 days in a week means you've actually burned 3,500 calories more than you ingested that week. What's so important about 3,500 calories? That's 1 pound of fat. 1 pound of fat is equivalent to 3,500 calories. And so if you could lose 1 pound of fat a week, that's fantastic. That's a lot faster than you might think, and it's sustainable. Tip number 3, guys, is get somebody to do it with you. Preferably your wife or girlfriend, whoever's living with you, okay? It'll help, because then you both have the same goal. She's not bringing Bluebell ice cream in the house, all right, while you're trying to watch what you put in your mouth, all right? Also, it helps with the cardio. It helps with the exercise. If you have somebody to go on, an hour walk with you every day, it's a lot more exciting than just doing it by yourself. So get somebody to join in this journey with you. You might join a gym if that will help you out. You might join a running club. Doesn't matter. I think it really does help to have people around you that share the same goals as you. All right, 3 tips, lots of just boring information I just threw on you there, but even though it's boring, it's really important. And the thing about losing fat is it comes in waves. So you got to be consistent. A lot of guys get real excited because they'll lose 3 or 4 pounds in the first month, all right? And then all of a sudden the weight loss stops and then they give up, all right? You just kind of have to ride through these plateaus, okay? And then really refocus your efforts. When you hit a plateau and you're not losing any more fat, you need to really start looking at what you're eating. I talk to a ton of guys online, via Zoom or via email, and we start talking about their nutrition. Oh, I'm really good, man. I eat great 80% of the time. I'm like, 80% of the time? That's a majority of the time, all right? And you'll lose some fat for a while, and then you're gonna plateau. You gotta step it up, all right? That 20% of bad eating, that's a lot of calories. Man, you can ingest 1,000 calories in, 90 seconds, if you're eating the wrong stuff. Think how long it takes to burn 1,000 calories. I mean, that's like you'd have to run about 6 or 7 miles. So it's not worth it, guys. You got to be very consistent and stick with it and never give up on yourself.